Hello, Sugar Pops. Welcome back to my channel. This is Anja, and I hope that you are all doing well. I wanted to give my spiel on the Monique and Sleepwear Brigade, specifically about the bonnets and the pajamas and slippers in the stores and airport and all that jazz. So pretty much, I absolutely agree with Monique. Bonnets are for bedtime or for lounging around in the comfort of your own home, not to be worn outside and, just especially not at the airport. As someone who used to work at an airport, I used to see all kind of foolishness. And I'm going to say that regardless of whether you think whatever, people are judging you. You are being judged. It just is what it is, especially since historically airports were a place of looking nice. It was a special event when you were able to get on a plane. So people went to the airports looking nice, and most airlines still have dress codes. So regardless of what you think or how you feel or you paid your money, you're being judged. Number 2, dress how you desire to be addressed. You don't have to look glam. You don't have to look extremely polished all the time. Unless you were able to do that and you put time into that. Nobody said you have to do that, but you do want to dress how you are to be addressed. I want to share a little story. Back in the day, probably about like 7 years ago, when I worked in healthcare, I was going to work at 3 a.m. But the problem was that I couldn't get to sleep until 11 p.m. So that left me just a few hours to go to sleep and then pop up out of nowhere at 2:45 and hurry up and rush to my job, which was not too far from my house, thank goodness. One day I was in the outpatient area and I looked a mess. My hair was in braids, so my hair was fine, but my scrubs were super baggy on me because I was losing weight at the time. And it was a really tough schedule that I had that I kept conforming myself to. And I remember the look of one older patient's face, and she was just like, "What are you doing?" She was just completely offended at my appearance. Now, granted, I wasn't doing anything personally to her, and my attitude could have been like, and it probably was at the time, but I have to say that I'm very grateful that it happened because it just reminded me, dress how you want to be addressed. It is kind of offensive when other people look at you and you look a hot mess. Just the same way how if I'm looking really nice, other people have come to me all the time and tell me how nice I'm looking or how wonderful I smell or something like that. And because it brightens up their day. So the same thing goes. We all love compliments. We all want to be seen as beautiful. We all want to be doted on and like, oh my gosh, you look so nice. So be aware that the opposite effect is true if you are, leaving the house looking like a hot mess. Don't be like me. Don't work 2 hours. Don't go to sleep for 2 hours and then expect to still carry on a whole day. My God, I'm grateful that time is over. My another point is to be teachable. Monique has been our age. Like most of the women that I've noticed that have an issue with this, they seem to be under 30. The ones who are popping off like, don't try and take my bonnets away from me. Y'all always trying to police us. They seem to be kind of young or at least young-minded. Monique has been your age. You've never been hers. Be teachable. And for anybody who's watched any of my content before, you guys know that I value the wisdom of older women. And I feel that there's so much for us to learn and so much for us to glean from older women. So it's really important. Take that time. Actually see the ones who dressed bad back in the day and you be like, "Oh, auntie, you look so good." Ask them, how did they style themselves? Ask them, what did they put into it? And for those of you who feel so self-righteous about the bonnet, this is the flip side of it. Be very careful about who's cheering you on about having the freedom to wear your bonnet. Yes, you have the freedom to wear your bonnet and your pajamas in the public, but watch those who are like, oh, girl, you go, girl, wear whatever you want. Nobody can tell you what to do. Watch, I'm exaggerating. Watch them, because those same people probably see you as competition, and they're going to be like, whew, all right, got her out the way. I mean, nobody would consider her for a position that I might possibly be going for. Nobody would consider her as a viable dating candidate that, just you have to be very careful, because not everybody who's cheering you on means you well in that, regard. If it's something that's really making you look like a clown, don't do it. Like most of my friends, if something's not right, I'm going to be like, hey, boo, it's almost the equal of like saying something's in your eye, or, just you have a booger in your nose or something like that. Just you want to really help the people around you. Now, this is something that is also very telling, because the same people who are complaining about having the freedom to wear their bonnets being taken away from them are the same ones who are watching how to dress and groom well and be more feminine. What's up with that, y'all? It's like outwardly you want to show that you are tough as nails and that nobody can tell you what to do. But on the inside, you secretly do want to be, you want to dress nice and be desirable. So if that's the thing, instead of arguing about it, why don't you ask for some tips? There are a lot of older women and just, influencers who dress well, older people who are around you. And I'm not even talking about like old over 60. I'm talking about, possibly my age, mid-30s or something like that, who dress well and can give you some pointers. Get a stylist. There are some really awesome stylists out there too. And I know none of them would recommend having a bonnet on your head when you go out. So it's not about respectability politics. It's really just about taking care of yourself and presenting yourself as best as you possibly can and as you possibly want to. I have some content about this on my website, so go check it out at anjamaia.com, ANJAMAIA.com, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks.